Started, Emma.
Welcome back to Walsall Fan TV, the Joy the Pain podcast too. Thanks for joining, thanks for watching, thanks for listening. We're here, the transfer deadline day. We thought we were done when Dave turned up, oh Cagboo. But at the death, Walsall have got another player in. It is Harvey Griffiths, and it's another association with the Wolves. So if we're talking about the Wolves, we need to bring in Dazzling Dave. How you doing?
All right, my friend. For those of you that don't know me and Simon, we go back to primary school.
Long time best buddies, aren't we? Long time best buddies.
Literally, he's my best friend forever. We're like my brother. My brother.
Hey, now emotional bits here. Right then. So for years, Walsall fans have been going, why aren't we getting any connection with the local clubs? And we had a little bit with the Albion, a little bit with the Villa. But for years, it seemed like Wolves were not sort of considered. And it's nice that that's starting to change. Of course, Jackson Smith came to us end of last season, and he's on a season-long loan with us now, which is good. But this guy, Harvey Griffiths, he's quite a player, apparently, isn't he?
Well, he's got a lot of pedigree, Simon. As you probably will know, he made his full senior debut for Wolves 55 minutes in Wolves' destruction of Blackpool in midweek 5-0. He came on. Joe Hodge went off injured, and he came on. And he did all right. He was a little bit nervous, I think, when he came on, because obviously it's there was a decent crowd. I think there was around about 20,000 for that game, which weren't too bad for a Carabao Cup game against Blackpool in League One or League Two.
League One, I think they are. Yeah,
League One, yeah. And he did really, really well. He's got a lot of pedigree. I mean, obviously, as I say, he's born in Oldham, actually. And he comes through the Wolves Academy, having arrived in the summer of 2021 from Manchester City. So the fact that he's come from Man City also will give you an indication of his pedigree. He was, if you didn't know, Walsall fans, part of the Manchester City youth side, the under-18 2021 that won the Premier League title. And he also played a key role, did Griffiths, in Wolves' run to the FA Cup, Youth FA Cup semi-final in the 21-22 season, included scoring at Molineux in the 3-1 quarter-final victory over Brighton and over Albion. He's also featured very regularly last season for James Collins under-21s. He's a defensive midfielder. He scored twice in 15 appearances for the team. The team that actually claimed the Premier League Division 1 promotion via the playoffs, and then he's continued to develop during the last 12 months. He found the net 4 times and had 4 assists. He's also, as I say, was included on the bench in a Premier League fixture for the first time last November as Wolves took on Brighton at Molineux.
The Walsall midfield is generally a little bit on the short side. He's 6'2", isn't he? So he's a bit more of a physical presence. Is he, as 19, is he one that's going to be knocked off the ball, or is he a bit beefy?
Do you know, when he came on in midweek and I was watching the game against Blackpool, when he came on, I was really surprised with just how tall and stocky he was. He's quite lean. Obviously, he's still, at that age, he's still going to beef out a little bit over the next year or two. But he's very, very comfortable on the ball. He can, he's calm and collected. He, as I say, was a little bit nervous. There was a couple of stray passes that went away, which you'd expect. Because, I mean, Blackpool were very lacking in the quality department, perhaps, of a Premier League squad. But they're, in terms of trying to close players down, they're going to do that, Harris and stuff. And then he grew into the game, made some really good forward passes, was then calmed down, and he was very, very comfortable. I think, The fact that he's been on the bench for a Premier League game. He's made a senior debut, albeit in the Carabao Cup, but against a League One side that was playing. I mean, you see so many ties that against when you've got a Premier League team against a team from a lower division, how they raise their game to, cause problems and stuff like that. He handled himself very, very well. And I personally think it's a great move for him. And I agree with you. What you said earlier on the thing, I'm surprised that there aren't more Wolves loanees that go out to a club like Walsall. Down the road, not good stadium, really good fan base. Me and you have talked many, many times about Walsall really, should be, for me, a team that's playing in League One. And I really do hope that this is the year for Walsall, that they push on to, at least make the playoffs. And I think he's going to become quite an important member of the squad. Obviously, he's got players in front of him at the moment that you would say that he's got to shift. But if he goes there with the right attitude, he's going to learn a lot more of his craft. He's going to, being at Walsall, and especially in League Two, it's going to toughen him up. And if he can use his quality and he can get with the pace and the rough and tumble of League Two, and he can get himself to become a starter, I think he's going to be quite influential for Walsall this season. And I think it's great for him, and I think he'll do a really good job for the Saddlers.
I'm a bit sort of confused, but the Okagbu signing was sort of very confusing. I can't see how he'll get in the team. With the Griff, I can see where he would want to be playing. Do you think he's more sort of CDM or sort of just central midfield?
Well, he's a defensive type midfielder, but he can, as I say, he's comfortable on the ball. He's athletic. He can run with the ball, and he can pick out a pass, whether that's a short pass forward into, directly forward through the thing. So, you break through the lines, he can do that.
Yeah.
Or whether he pings the ball over to the wings. It depends, obviously, on the style that Walsall play. Obviously, we know that Walsall have got good players in his position in League Two. As I said, so he's got to fight for the place. So it'll be interesting to see how he goes about it. Personally, what you've got is a player that is young and hungry. He will, obviously, he's played a lot of academy football, a lot of under-21s. This is the next step in his development. If he can impress at Walsall, against men, let's be honest, you see a lot of under-21 sides from the Premier League that come up against League Two is it the Johnson Paint?
Yeah, I think it's called something else now, but I'll still call it
Probably that. Changes its name. And you do see that the physicality, as clever on the ball as they might be, technically gifted, physically, when you've got boys against men, that tends to ultimately come out in the Johnson Paint. But when you've got a lot of men around him and youngster players, and you've got that mixture, I think that'll really help him. It's going to toughen him up. He's going to get banged about a bit. Without any shadow of a doubt. But if you've got a player that's got quality, that can create time and space on the ball, and he should be able to that. I mean, let's face it, he's played, it really with a lot of technically gifted players for his age and his level, both at City and at Wolves. And if he can get get into that Walsall team, I think he can really carry the ball. He can find a pass, and he can make a really good contribution to get Walsall going forward on the attack. And ultimately, it'll be tidying up a lot of work defensively for Walsall, but hopefully getting that attack going, because if you can you can tidy things up defensively and help get goals at the other end, you're going to have a player for you for the season.
Yeah, I think that the difficult thing is because Walsall don't have a reserve team as such, if he's not starting and he's not getting off the bench initially, where's his fitness going to come from? It could be, as with Douglas James Taylor. He was on loan to us last season from Stoke, but he was still playing in the Premier 2 games for Stoke. So it could be that he's still sort of going back and playing some games for Wolves if he hasn't broken into the team. So that's an area where he might keep his fitness. But of course, the concern is if he's not starting, he's just going to be sitting there, and he's not going to get any game time. So he needs that fitness, doesn't he?
Well, let's just see what Matt Taylor, your manager, has said. Obviously, he said he's really pleased that he's joined him. He's someone he met a couple of weeks ago. He's been in around the first team, as he said, as his parent club Wolves. It's taken a little bit of time for him to get done. So this is a deal that they've obviously been. Matt Sadler's been wanting to get in. The fact that the manager from Walsall has wanted to get him in is a good sign. Matt Sadler said he's a driving influence from midfield. He likes to be on the ball. He likes to put himself about. So that shows that he's got some physicality, because Matt Sadler will realise that he does need, even though he's young, he needs someone that's got a bit of aggression.
It could be, you know. At the fans forum, Matt Sadler was talking about Oisin McKenty. He's a defender that he wants to play in midfield. It could be that McKenty has actually told him that actually he'd prefer to play at centre half, because he is the box to box sort of height and physical presence that we've got in the midfield when he's playing in there. So maybe if McKenty is going to stay in defence, it could be that there's a spot there to get some height into the Walsall midfield.
Well, do you know, Simon? To me, if Matt Sadler's obviously targeted him and wants to get him in, he has said he wants to be playing first team football. I think he's also said that as well. So that says everything. He's going to be involved in Walsall's first team squad, and it's up then to the player with his new teammates to make sure he fits into the dressing room, fits into the way Walsall want to play. And he needs to show that in training. If he's shown in training that he's technically gifted, that he's giving 150% for Walsall, he's going to get his chance. And when he gets on the pitch, he's got to take it. And what you want is a football club, really. You want players that are committed to the club. He's committed to Walsall for the season. He wants to prove himself, obviously. And if you've got players that are like that, that drives the players on another. It means that you've got a squad that are all pushing each other. And if you've got a squad that are pushing each other, that's going to help on the pitch. And hopefully Walsall have a good season.
The problem is, because Walsall have so many players around that position. Just going to make a comment here from Walsall on the Road, our mate Lee. Sturk, McKenty, Hutchinson, Riley, Tierney, and now Harvey, all trying to fit into three places. And then you've got Ram, of course. Ram is out on loan at Rushall. I think he's likely to be there for the season, because I can't see him getting into the first team unless he's ripping trees up at Rushall. So he's going to do well to find a place on the bench. That's the issue. And reserve football.
You know what, Simon? I don't think it's an issue for him, because he's not going to Walsall to... from his point of view, Wolves will not let him go to Walsall if he's just not going to be in. If he's not going to be involved, he wouldn't be going to Walsall. They are letting him go to Walsall to develop, for him to develop. So if he's not getting game time at Walsall, ultimately they'll switch it round in January.
It's a strange one, because Matt Sadler said on Tuesday that he was looking to just get one in. And he was only looking at one player trying to get in, and that one player came in. That was the Dave Akagbu. So on Tuesday, he never even mentioned that anything was likely to happen with this. But then in the media, he comes up and says,
there's so many things that happen late on a deadline. I mean, like Wolves, we signed 4 players in 36 hours. We waited all summer like buzzes, and then they all come along. They all tingle along, and we ended up with 2 midfielders.
Another comment we've got there from Bob Sure Uncle.
Put it on the screen, on the screen side, so we can see.
Let's just.
I can't see him. You see?
Oh, you can't see him, but Jack Earing. He's a player that's very highly rated at Walsall. And he's not likely to be back until end of October, November, maybe even January. So come January, that's going to be another head that's in and around wanting to get game time. So maybe we'll be sending players out on loan because the loan players we've got in can't get near the first team.
Possibly, but I think any club really needs 5 or 6 midfielders, So because during the season, there's going to be niggles, there's going to be cards, there's going to be suspensions, there's going to be people that are going to be out on short term. There could be even some long-term injuries. So you do need strength in depth. And you know quite well. I know, like Walsall fans generally aren't the biggest fans of Wolves and stuff like that. I like Walsall. I really like Walsall. I always look out for Walsall's results, and I want Walsall to get to the division where they really should be. I always see Walsall as a League One side, and we've seen Walsall in the past that have managed to get to the Championship and turn Wolves over in the Championship, as I'm sure you remember.
I do remember that very well.
Of course, and great day. I always think Walsall really are a League One side. If they're in the Championship, they're punching a little bit above. But in League Two, they're punching a little bit below. And I think Walsall, I really want to see Walsall, and I'm sure you do.
We desperately want to go to League Two. But League Two,
want a little bit more joy and a little less pain, Simon.
That's it. It's become a very tough division, League Two.
Well, you've seen Wrexham that have gone up, and they've found it tough. Notts County are doing well. You've got some great teams in that division, but Walsall
some big signings. Andy Carroll gone to Swindon.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, we'll see what happens with that one. But like Walsall this season, if you'd have turned your like million draws into a few wins, I mean, I think, did you have some sort of like 10 draws in a row or something stupid?
Oh, probably felt like 30, to be honest.
I know.
Yeah, 13 games, 13 draws, I think.
I was saying to you last season, wasn't I? Walsall need a bit more consistency because you tend to go on streaks. You'll like lose 4 and then you'll win 4. And when I was saying a bit more consistency, I didn't mean like 10 draws in a row. I meant like actually, getting a few more. If you'd have turned like 3 or 4 of them into wins, you would have been pushing the playoffs.
Yeah. I think the key for this, I think, is we got to use our subs. As you say, with the extra yellow cards, they've gone yellow card crazy, haven't they? So we're going to have suspensions.
Yeah, you have got 5 subs in their League Two as well, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So you've got.
No, it's quite rare for Walsall. We normally you normally got 15 and 16-year-olds making up the 24. But I mean, they are still fairly young players. But we've got a full squad this season.
You want depth.
Players aren't even getting on the bench.
Yeah, well,
Joe Riley, for example, 26-year-old. He wants to be playing regular football. He's not getting off. He's not getting on from the bench, and he's going to be lucky to be on the bench.
I know, but mate,
he didn't move on.
It's a great problem for the manager to have. The thing is, with it doesn't matter what level of football that you play at. If you've got a bench, a strong bench, you've got options you can bring on to change the game when you need to. And I think that's what your head coach, Matt Sadler, has been looking for, is to have that strength on the bench that if Walsall need to change something or you need to bring a player on to change the situation, you've got that, whereas possibly in the past you haven't had that. Yeah. And if you've got that this season, that's a really good sign for Walsall.
Yeah, and I think if this Harvey can get into the team and get match minutes, then it could be interesting development. And excellent, as Keith said there, it's a win-win for both, really, the player and the clubs. They need him to be getting match minutes in senior football, and he's an extra option for Walsall. So,
absolutely. And I'm going to be, as always, mate, I'll be following your channel, and I'll be obviously following this with interest to see how he gets on. And I'm sure he'll do a great job for you. And I just want to say, like, to all the Walsall fans out there, I really, really do, really from the bottom of my heart, really hope that Walsall have a fantastic season, because, like, we need it. Wolves fans actually quite like Walsall, even though you don't particularly like. We actually quite like Walsall. So, like, I really hope that you have a great season, and you maybe get automatic. That would be amazing, but minimum playoffs.
Got you. Nice one. Just final comment there from Walsall on the road. It's not a great option for Sadler, though, because the players on the bench or not in the matchday squad will not be fit enough to play. So it bites in the arse in the weeks to come. Possibly. But just a quick one to introduce Harvey Griffiths. So thanks for coming on, Super Dave. And the joy and the pain, we both know all about that, don't we?
In buckets, yeah. So it's a pleasure to be on the channel, mate, and all the best to Walsall for the Saddlers for the rest.
See you very soon, buddy.
Absolutely. Well, we will, mate. I'll have to try and beat you at snooker again. That'd be nice.
Cheers. Thanks for watching, everybody. Up the Walsall, and we wish the Wolves okay as well. Thanks for watching. Cheers.